on the road. Seeing the stream, they lost it. Outside the shelter, players kept arriving in waves. Rather than drown in the flood or starve, they had to seize this lifeline. Survival instinct drove them to desperation. They begged those inside to open up, to let them in, but the players inside had already deadbolted everything. No matter how they pounded on doors and walls, or unleashed their abilities, they couldn't budge that sealed entrance. Just as the insiders were celebrating, I suddenly popped up and said, "Wasn't it supposed to hold 20? Can't 8 more still get in? I have another override code. Even with the doors locked, I can still access the interior. The hidden door is in the southeast. That decorative brick at the base of the wall. Turn it and the hidden door reveals itself." The players outside rushed the hidden door like madmen. They turned the decorative brick. The ancient decorative brick. An actual hidden door appeared in the old wall. Players scrambled to get inside, fighting for those last 8 spots. One frail-looking girl was too slow, trailing behind. Then, vines burst from her arms, lashing wildly at the crowd ahead, instantly tripping a mass of players. The player with the blade ability quickly cut the vines beneath his feet, then spun around and fired a wind blade, slitting the vine player's throat. The blade player reached the door first, punched in the override code, and the gate swung open. He rushed inside, thrilled. Right after, another player used lightning strike to drop a whole crowd. The second player charged through the gate. But, as the third player neared the entrance, a player on the ground latched onto his leg. The fallen player flashed a creepy grin, driving venom-coated nails into his thigh. The venom player had barely gotten up to flee through the gate, when a steel-hardened arm punched through his chest from behind. One by one, players dropped dead at the sanctuary entrance. The will to survive stripped away their last bit of decency. So the abilities this system gave weren't for fighting zombies after all. They were meant to make them kill each other. The players inside the sanctuary couldn't sit still anymore. They all had rapid movement abilities, but clearly lacked any real fighting power. If they didn't seal the gate and let in players with higher combat stats, wouldn't they be sitting ducks? The Blade and Lightning players who had just burst inside realized this. They quickly teamed up and started going after the players outside. Right then, the numbers on the public screen shot up. Player deaths kept piling up. Human nature is the same everywhere. Brutal death matches broke out at the other 3 sanctuaries too. Across all the surveillance feeds, I couldn't spot Wang Teng anywhere. Then again, why would he ever go to a sanctuary? As luck would have it, Wang Teng messaged me right then. "Mark, look at us, we never even allied. Yet, we worked together so smoothly. We were born to be allies. Have you no shame? Exposing my identity. Putting me in the hot seat, that was all you. Don't be so mad. If I hadn't cooked up that plan, how would we have sent those players to their deaths? You should thank me for clearing out your competition." As we were chatting, the sanctuary hit full capacity. The gate sealed shut automatically. Outside, blood ran like rivers. Those who hadn't made it in were still struggling in vain. The players inside were celebrating. They had no idea what was coming for them. I smiled. What could it be? I smiled and said to Wang Teng, "It is a shame you're not in the sanctuary." With that, I hit a button. In an instant, the 1,000 tons of explosives buried inside detonated. The shockwave even shattered the surviving players outside the shelter. After the explosion, the player count dropped by 116. Only 91 players remained. After a long moment, Wang Teng finally sent me a message. "I underestimated you. Thanks for the assist. Otherwise, gathering that many players in the shelter would have been nearly impossible. The players most likely to reach Future Island without planes or ships are now gone. I've been planning for a year how to take them all out at once. Those shelters became their graves. The shelter explosions couldn't make the news this quickly. The other surviving players had no idea what happened. But Wang Teng knew immediately, which meant he was watching everything from a distance. Then, the system sent me a message. "Congratulations on becoming the player with the most kills. You receive an extra reward." I couldn't help but smile. See, in this apocalypse, it is always survival of the fittest. 4 months later, the floodwaters slowly receded, revealing the submerged land. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief, thinking the disaster was over. But they didn't expect that the flood had brought a plague. Many dead NPCs turned into zombies. Congratulations to the 101 players who cleared the first stage. Apocalyptic Flood. Next is the second stage. Apocalyptic Zombies. Finally, it is time for abilities to shine. That so-called number 99 is as good as dead. At that moment, Liu Ruyan sent me a private message. Mark, you don't have an ability. You won't survive the zombie apocalypse. If you share some supplies with me, and tell me your location, I can come protect you. I slowly typed a question mark. Don't underestimate my ability. I survived the flood. Entirely because of it. Of course, I knew how she survived. She used her ability to inspire love. To scam supplies from her neighbors. When rescue arrived, she was the first one saved. Thinking of this, I replied, sorry, I'm not interested. Besides, Liu Ruyan knowing I'm the richest man was clearly no coincidence. The zombie virus erupted across every continent. Because I destroyed the planes and ships in advance, cutting off transmission routes to Pacific Island nations and Antarctica. The transmission routes were severed. Basic zombies weren't hard to deal with, but the virus spread way too fast. After spreading repeatedly, mutations started showing up. Exactly as I predicted. Smart zombies and ones with powers started appearing quietly. As long as a zombie ate an ability user's flesh, it could get their powers. Players realized they'd die without alliances, so they started banding together and building bases to hold off zombie attacks. But the bases didn't just fight zombies. They fought each other too, battling over supplies and lives. Facing the zombie virus, I had to put up steel nets in the ocean to keep infected fish from reaching Future Island. Electric grids went up overhead too, stopping birds from landing. The sunlight seemed kind of dim. On rainy days, I'd hole up in my underground bunker. Only after machine testing confirmed the rain was clean. Would I risk coming out? That was the biggest way the zombie virus affected me. Land-based networks had crashed long ago. NPCs could only use radio to send messages. But I didn't mess with that old junk. Thousands of satellites overhead let me watch Earth in real time. Just like I figured. Birds would carry the virus. When the virus hit vulnerable island nations, the whole island instantly turned into a living hell. Player numbers. Players kept dropping one by one. This time, down to 30. But right then, a mutated bird zombie had just flown over Future Island's waters. When it hit the electric grid, instantly fried to a crisp by the high voltage. But one feather slipped through, drifting down through a gap in the grid. Before it hit the ground, a robotic dog blasted it with a fire jet, burning it to ash. That bird must have flown from other Pacific Islands. From that day on, huge flocks of birds passed over Future Island every day. The electric grid was covered in bird carcasses. Robots were swamped patrolling the whole island, torching bird bodies and clearing the grid. If even Future Island was this bad, you can imagine how rough things were elsewhere. I quit taking daily beach walks and moved into the underground bunker for good. Today's New Year's, but nobody in the world feels like celebrating. Except me. I was eating my New Year's dinner while watching the last Spring Festival gala before the apocalypse hit. I thought about my family from before, but now I was the only one left. It was hard not to feel empty inside. I had to go back. I had to be the last one standing. I snapped a photo of my New Year's Eve dinner and sent it to Wang Teng. A minute later, Wang Teng posted my photo on the world chat. I could just picture the players losing their minds. Angry comments came flooding in. Player 99's living